Imagine getting a 911 call not on a phone, but by a video, chat, text, email, emoji, or even through a smart appliance. Yeah, we're headed there. But as we leap into the world of next generation 911, the question becomes who's going to answer all these high-tech maydays? Let's talk about building the new Avengers of emergency communications. Minus, of course, the capes, but with way cooler keyboards. That's coming up next on Tips Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to Tips Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to Tips Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm an ENP and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. 3 times a week I bring you the latest, most innovative, and sometimes controversial takes on emergency communications. Today we're going to jump into the deep end with training the next generation. Educational pathways for future telecommunicators. So, here we are, next generation 911. It's not your grandma's 911 anymore, although big shout out to her for knowing how to use the speakerphone. This is the whole new universe of emergency communications, with voice, video, text, and data flying into the ECC like a digital snowstorm. The requests for service are coming faster, from more devices, and in more formats. You see, public safety is not just answering calls anymore. We're triaging video, deciphering emojis. Yeah, that eggplant might mean a real emergency, and not what you think. And we're handling AI-generated alerts from sensors that are probably smarter than most teenagers. But here's the kicker. We need a workforce that's ready to handle that chaos. And right now, we're still trying to get folks to answer the phone in time. So let's pick this problem apart by starting at the top, and that's volume. If you think the Chick-fil-A drive-thru at lunch is kind of busy, multiply that by 100 and add a side of panic. That's what ECCs are in for. New tech means more data. More data means we need more brains and better training just to be able to manage the influx. Because Excel spreadsheets and Post-it notes aren't going to cut it anymore. So how do we attract the new talent to this evolving role? Well, for starters, ditch the old recruiting posters. Today, nobody's getting excited by a stock photo of someone with a headset looking important. Instead, show them the real stuff. The cool tech, the life-saving moments, and career paths that matter. We're not just hiring call takers anymore. We're onboarding digital crisis managers, emergency data analysts, and virtual dispatch strategists. Let's start calling these jobs with what they are. So what should higher ed be teaching them? Well, think cybersecurity, data management, UX design. Because let's face it, most ECC systems look like they were built in 1997. And then there's even AI ethics. Yeah, it turns out that Siri and Alexa just might be future coworkers. Now, here's the hot take that's a little controversial. Should some of this move into the private sector? Yeah, I know. That's like suggesting jelly beans on pizza. But hear me out on this. The private sector knows how to offer innovation, resources, and the ability on how to actually attract and keep top tech talent. And they do that with more than just a free polo shirt and a badge. There's potential here, as long as we keep the mission front and center. And maybe the answer is a blended environment. Now here's a question that I've been asked ever since I first brought up VoIP in a public safety environment. What about remote work? Well, maybe, but realistically not for everyone and not for every role. But imagine a certified dispatcher working from a secure home setup. Their job is to manage non-critical calls or even video triage. Yeah, it's doable, but it also means we're going to need Fort Knox level security, very strict access controls, and probably a few less Alexa devices eavesdropping. So now the big question. What's the ETA on all this becoming a reality? Well, I'm going to say 2 to 5 years for the early adopters, especially in urban and enterprise PSAP environments. But only if we stop treating this like a future problem and start building the pipeline now. That means partnerships, planning, and yes, education that actually reflects where the public safety industry is heading, not where it's been. That's it for today's episode of Tips Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for listening. For more updates and insights, remember to follow me on most social media platforms, and you can visit 911tips.com for a complete archive of our previous episodes. Stay safe. Thanks so much for listening. And if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every day. I'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to Tips Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Catch past episodes on 911tips.com. That's 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good. Tips is brought to you by 911 Inform, the leading next-generation 911 solution for enterprise compliance with federal 911 regulations. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. 911 Inform, making every second count when it matters the most.